Okay, so in this video, we're going to go over matrices. We're going to look at a basic introduction to matrices. We are going to focus our attention on addition of matrices, multiplication of matrices as well. Okay, so the questions that we're going to focus on are those questions that come in paper one that also involve like where the question is asking to give the transpose of a given matrix. Okay, so uh, let's say you are given, and before you answer any question, it's very important to note this one point. You need to know, okay, know the order the order of the matrix that you're dealing with. Okay, so here, what do we mean by the order? It's just the arrangement. So remember to say under matrices we deal with what? We deal with what? Um, we deal with rows and what? Columns. Okay, so I'm going to indicate rows using R, then columns using what? Using C. Okay, so here is what we are going to do. So we say these are what? These are our rows, and these are what? Our columns. So what do we mean? I'm going to use the letters A, B, C, and D, and any that I may add in case of anything. So let's say you are given this matrix. Let's say you're given A here, you're given B here, you're given what? C, you're also given what? D. So maybe even before we go to that one, let's look at the most basic one that we can talk about. The basic one, starting from the first one. Okay, so we have rows. Okay, rows and what? Columns. So let's say we use letter A, then we do this. So we need to ask ourselves, and we for us to give the order of this matrix, we need first of all to count the number of what? The number of rows that you have. So remember to say number of rows are those that are in this direction. Rows are more like we can call them horizontal lines. Okay. Then columns are what? Are vertical. They're in this direction. They either go up or down. Then this side or what? Or that side. That's how you can describe them. So we ask ourselves we ask ourselves how many rows are in here. What we have is what? Is 1. So it's 1 row. You say by. How many columns do we have? We have 1. So it's a 1 by what? 1 by 1 matrix. Then we can go to a second one. Let's say we have A here. We have what? We also have B here. So here, how many rows do you have? You count 1, 2. So you have 2 rows multiplied by how many columns? Is 1 column here. You can go to a third one as well. Okay, so let's say we have A here and we put the B here. How we can describe the order of this matrix? So the number of rows that we have, we can see clearly it's just 1. So meaning it's 1 by what? 1 by 2, because we have 1, 2 columns. So what about this one? Let's say we have we combine all of these. Let's say we have A here, you have B, you have C, you have D, like the one that we gave earlier. Yeah. So for this one, you count how many rows? You have 2 rows multiplied by 2 columns. This is 1, 2. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix. This is a 1. This is a 1 by 2 matrix. This is a 2 by 1 matrix. This is a 1 by 1 matrix. You can have just a lot of them. You can have 1 here, maybe 2 here, maybe 3 here. Someone is asking, so what's the order of the matrix? Just 3 by what? 3 by 1, because you're counting how many rows? 1, 2, 3, and how many columns? 1 column. So that's basically how you go about finding the order of the matrix. And if you know how to find the order of the matrix, it's going to be very simple for you, because some questions, before you answer, they require to know the order of the matrix. That is going to guide how your answer is going to come out. So now let's talk about something interesting. We talk about addition of what? Addition of a matrix. Addition of matrices. Okay, addition of matrices. So here's what we are going to do. Let's say we have A, you have B here, you have C here, you have D here. let's say you have, okay, let's say this is our let's say this is our what, our I, okay, then this is our what, our M. Okay, so M, as this is A, B, C, D, our M should have E, let's say F, G, and H right there. So now let's say we are going to use these two matrices as what, as an example. So now let's say we want to add matrix A, I mean I plus what, I plus M. Whenever you see this, you are being asked to do what, to add the two. So what, here I'm just using letters, but in the actual questions we are going to have numbers, but in this case I just want to show the format, how you go about it. So when you're adding matrices, we know to say it's cardinal. This is a 2 by 2 matrix, and this is also a 2 by what, 2 matrix. So what you need to do is that you need to cancel out, ignore these numbers in between, ignore that one. So write down what you have, what is remaining, and what is remaining in this case is what, is a 2 and a 2. So meaning your answer should be what, a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so what we are going to do in this case is that we are going to be picking this number, is going to be with that one here. You're going to add it with this one. Then C, you're going to add it with what, with G. Your B, you're going to add it with what, with F. Okay, then your D, you're going to add it with what, with H. So meaning we are saying, please note the colors that we have used here. Yeah, so meaning we are saying this is A, okay, we are saying A plus what, A plus E, okay, A plus E. Then down here what do we have? We have our B, okay, B plus F. On this other side what do we have? We have our C. We say C plus what? C plus G. On this other side we have what? D. Saying D plus what? Plus the H that we have. So that this is the order that you're supposed to use when you're talking about you adding I plus what? I plus M. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, if you follow this order, then it's any question that you're going to deal with under matrix, it's going to be very simple for you adding any matrix. And if at all they were to say I minus M, it's still the same format. Alright, things only get to change when you're talking about what, you multiplying, because you're talking about adding the first one with the first one, the second one, the first on the bottom with the first on the bottom, the second on the bottom with the second on the bottom. That's how you do the addition. And you find that when you add these two, they will give you a single number. And when you add these two, they will give you a single number. Like you add this, you have a single number, you have a single number, you have a single number here, you have a single number. Meaning you're going to have a 2 by what? 2 matrix. So that's how you go about adding matrices. Now what about multiplication? Multiplication is also very interesting. Yeah, it's practical. So we're talking about what? Multiplication. Okay, multiplication. So under multiplication of a matrix, what we're talking about is that let's use the same format. Let's say we have I. Let's say we have I here is equals to what? We have A, we have B, we have C, we have D. Okay, then we also have what? M, which is equals to what? A, B, C, D. We have E, we have F, G, and we have what? H right there. Okay, so we want to multiply what we are saying I multiplied by what? Multiplied by M, and usually you just say IM. It still means multiplication. There's a multiplication sign on the in between the two. So what you need to take into consideration under multiplication is that, of course, you also have to think of it in this manner. We have a 2 by 2, 2 by 2 right there. So this goes and that goes. So meaning your answer should be at what? A 2 by 2 matrix. So having that in mind, even the way we've put our answer, we're able to judge ourselves to say, oh, okay, now is my answer correct or is it wrong? Okay. So when you're multiplying matrices, the issue of having rows and columns has to come back in your head. So this is our first row. This is our first row, and you are going to multiply it by what? The first column. Okay, so and again this first row again, you're also going to multiply it with what? With the second column again. Then you come back, you come to what? To the second row. This second row, for you to find the answers, you have to multiply it with what? Multiply it by the first column. And this second row again, multiply it with what? With the second column. Then you're going to get your answer. Then how do we put the format? So what we are basically saying in this case is that we are going to say it's what you are going to say is this. Remember to say in the first column we have A and C. Then the first row we have A and C. In the first column of the second matrix we have what? E and F. So what you're going to say is that you're going to say A multiplied by what? The E here. You close the what? The brackets, plus you open again. What are you remaining with? A C multiplied by the what? The F. Okay, then again the first row by the second column. So we're saying now our A again multiplied by what? Multiplied by what? Our G. We close plus what? Our C multiplied by what? The H. Then you come to the second one. The second one, you're going to have your B multiplied by what? Your E. You close, you add, you open again. Our D multiplied by what? Our F. You close, you open again. Then here again you say our B multiplied by what? Our G of the second column. You close, plus, you open again. Then our D multiplied by what? The H of the second. So, and you might want to put this in brackets like this. You can do that. And you do that. Okay, you do that. You're supposed to leave space on the middle here. Supposed to leave some space. And you do that. But of course, overall, this is what you're going to have. So we find that when you do the multiplication and the addition here, you're going to have one figure. Even here you're going to have what? One figure. You also have one figure here, and you have one figure. Hence you're going to have what? You're going to have your 2 by 2 matrix that you are looking for. So that's the format. That's the one that you use when talking about what? Multiplying matrices. Okay. So now another key point we need to take into consideration is the finding the transpose of the matrix. Okay. So let's say you are given matrix. Let's say you're given matrix B. Okay. So let's say inside you have what? Inside you have L. No, let's say you have I, you have A, you have I, you have L, and you have what? You have C. Then you want to find the transpose of this matrix. So remember to say this matrix is a 2 by 2 matrix, meaning you have 2 rows and you have 2 columns. So what you do in this case is that make the first row to become the what? The first column, and make the second row to become the second column. So it's like the row becomes what? The column, and the column becomes what? Becomes the row. So this is our first row, and this is our what? Our second row. So this first row becomes the second column. So remember to say this is our what? First column, second column. Okay, so now our first row, which is A and I, they should need to become our first what? Column. So meaning it needs to be in this form. They need to be in this format. You're going to have A and I here. Then our second row becomes the second column. So this would be what? L and C. So it's just like you are seeing your L, your LC is in this manner, and it's just like you are getting the L and putting it on top there. Then it disappears from this part. It disappears from that part. So just keep that one point. Make the first row to become the first column. Make the second row to become the second what? Second column. So no matter the order that they have given, whether it's a 3 by 3, 2 by 2, 1 by 2, 2 by 1, you can still do the same thing. Okay. So even if you're given, let's say you're given this matrix, you're given this. Let's say you're given a 2 here and a 1 here. You want to find the transpose, and usually they would put a T there to show. Whenever you see a T on raised, you never see the letter that is representing a matrix raised to power T, meaning they are looking for the transpose of that matrix. And if it's an inverse, you're going to see something like that on top. So meaning this is our first row. It needs to be, this row needs to be made what? A column. So meaning what you're going to have is a what? Is a 2 and a 1 there, and that will be your answer. Okay, so from this understanding, we are going to use the question that came in 2021. That is paper 1 mathematics, as an example to give us a picture of what we are talking about. In this case, we'll have to find the transpose of a matrix, and we also have to multiply the matrix. And if we want, we can also add, just for the sake of us getting a clear picture of the basics that we have understood from the explanation area. Okay, so the question was number it was 2021 paper 1 mathematics, that is a school certificate. It was question 7, yeah, question 7A and question 7B. Okay, so maybe we can do this here. 2021 paper 1, that is question what? Question 7, say A and what? A and B. So we were given to say matrix M. Okay, we are given to say matrix M is equals to what? We are given -2, 4, we're given 3, also given a 2 here. So the question says find the transpose of M. So we're finding the transpose of this. So remember, just make your first row. This is our first row. Use different color. Okay, this is our first row, and this is our second row. So your first row becomes your first column. Your second row becomes your what? Your second row becomes your second column. So meaning what you're going to have in this case is that our first row, which is 2 and -2 and 3, are going to be -2 here and the 3 there. The second row becomes the second column. So this would be what? 4 and what? That. So when you look at this, it's just like they are turning in like a clockwise direction. Like it's making a turn. This has to move at a 90 degrees from this point going to that point to come here. So it's more like the 4 has to come here where there is what? Where there is a 3. It's making a turn. Okay, so that was the way to go about answering that question. This is the transpose of that particular matrix. This was A. Then for B, we are saying we are given to say matrix P is equals to what? Matrix P is 2 here. We have a 0, we have a -1, we have 3. Okay, we have also matrix Q, which is what? We have -1 and the 3 here. So the question was find PQ. What does it mean? We need to multiply these two matrices. So once again, it's very important we know the order of the matrix first. This is a 2 by what? 2 matrix. This is a 2 by what? 1 matrix. So remember the same point. Get rid of these two numbers that are here. They are similar. You can get rid of them. So meaning what you're going to have is a what? Is a 2 by what? 1 matrix. So you already know the order. So in case you don't arrange the numbers properly and you don't get a 2 by 1 matrix, meaning your answer is wrong. So us knowing the order of the matrix, it helps us depict like having a picture of how the answer is going to look like. All right, so we already know to say our answer should be a what? A 2 by 1 matrix. Interesting. So remember, we are saying row by what? Column. Row by what? The same column that we have right there. So meaning we have to say our 2 multiplied by what? The first number. What's the first number? It's minus 1. Okay, you're going to put them in brackets like that. Then we have to add. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a negative 1 remaining. We are going to multiply it by what? The 3. Negative 1 multiplied by positive 3. So all we are doing is that we are multiplying the first number by the first number, the first number in the row multiplied by the first number in the column, the second number in the row multiplied by the second number in the what? In the column. So you go on the bottom there. So you're saying our 0 multiplied by what? Minus 1 plus we have our 3 multiplied by what? The 3 there. So these are in that manner. Okay, so what do we have? We have a 2 multiplied by what? Negative 1. That will give us minus 2. Okay, then minus 1 multiplied by positive 3. We are going to get minus what? Minus 3. Why are we ignoring this? Because it's more like we are going to say it's more like we are doing this. We are saying minus 2 plus what? Minus 3. The negative times positive is what? Negative times positive is going to give us negative. So minus 2 minus 3. That's why I just had to write in that manner. 0 multiplied by negative 1 is 0. Plus 3 by 3 is what? A 9. Like that. So what do we have? Minus 2 minus 3. That will give us minus what? Minus 5. Okay, then 0 plus 9, we're going to get what? A 9. So that's the answer that we get. And if you can look at the order of that matrix, how many rows do we have? We have 1, 2, and how many columns? We have 1. So meaning we have satisfied our idea to say the answer is going to be a 2 by 1 matrix. So that's how you go about answering matrix questions, and using the same examples, that using the same format that we have used using letters, is, I believe, that would be useful, because if you apply that, it's going to be simple for you handling any question that you can find under matrices, either in paper 1 or in paper 2 mathematics. Yeah, so watch out for the next video. We are going to look at paper 2 matrices that involves us finding the inverse as well as finding the determinant, so on and so forth. Yeah, thank you.